Today, I'm Dr. Bob Sather, and this video will demonstrate how to use a flowcharting tool called flowgorithm.com. Okay, this only works for Windows machines. But we're going to do a little brief demonstration of using flowgorithm and use it to create a couple files, take some files, create some string arrays, and then go ahead and merge two files into a third string array. So here we start with flowgorithm. Okay, this is the standard flowgorithm tool. All right, you might be seeing. And to get the toolbar up, you come between the two main functions. You start with a main and an end. This is your main program. And to get the toolbar function up, you can simply click on between the bars there, and this will bring up the toolbar. Now, standard flowgorithm charts are input and output, assign values, call values, and then control values such as if, while, for, and do loops. If you're using files, if you're going to input files and so forth, the bottom part of the screen here will give you the ability to open a file, either read or for read or write purposes, read a file, write records back to that file, and close it. Okay, so we're going to demonstrate the basics of these up here in our program, and also use the filing system too. Okay, so be in the program, main program. First thing we're going to do is we're going to create a subroutine. I'm going to add a function, which is a subroutine, and I'm going to call this first part count files. Count files. Well, let's call it count size. Probably a little better term. And in that size, I want to have a string. I'm going to call it file type or file name. String value for file name. And that's all I'm going to have in it. Now click done. Now, if I want to go add into the count size file name, I could go back to main here, or I can go back to count size. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pass a file to this program, okay, and then count the number of records in the file, okay? So, and what I want out of this program is I want a integer called count. Actually, we can call this size. Let's call it count here. Called count. And what we're going to do is we're going to read this file, count the number of records in it, and then pass that back to the calling program. So my calling program is going to say, okay, what do I need? I'm going to call. What am I going to call? I'm going to call count file or count. Yeah, it's called count file, isn't it? We call it count file. Count size. Call count size and pass to the file name. Okay, simple as that. Pass to the file name. Now, later on, we'll get in a little bit into rather than creating a variable field, we can just pass it a variable together. And we're going to come over here and go to count size field. We're getting past the file name. And what we want to do is we want to declare a variable called count. It's an integer, it's a number. Will always be a whole number. Integer count. Then we want to open the file name. In read mode. So I'm passing a file name. I'm going to come open the file that I have. Then I'm going to look for something called end of file. Now, end of file is a flowgram value is an intrinsic expression, and it's designed, I went to help on the flowgorithm file, and it has end of file as a function. This function will read the file until it hits the end. Okay? The function of that is to read the file until it hits the end. So I'm going to ask it, once I've opened the file, I'm going to do while I'm not at the end of the file. Okay, does that make sense? Everybody knows negation. Okay, if I just said end of file, it would only execute when true. I want this to execute when I don't hit the end of file. If I've read a record, I don't want this to execute before I hit the end of file. So I'm going to say not end of file. And we're going to not end of file. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a record. That's coming from file name. I've opened my file. I'm going to read a record. Okay. And I'm going to add one, assign count equal count plus one. And then when I get all done running through this, the last thing I want to do is close the file. Okay. So I have count, I have read record. So I have to declare a variable for that. The records I'm reading are going to be strings. They're going to be names, be student names. So I'm going to declare record as a string value. I'll read the records and count the values through the rate. Okay. So that's what my routine count size is going to do. I'm going to go back to main. And what I want to do is once I've read the file name and count, I want to declare an array. Declare array. It's a string array, size, and the value of size is going to be, we're going to call this size A. Okay. Variable size, and we're going to call this, because we're reading student files, we're going to call the array student A. Okay. And make sure I'm clear on that. I have two files in my directory. Here's my directory. In my directory, I'm on a OneDrive. So in my directory, I have a file called flowgorithm. And this is where, when I save all my flowgorithm files, it puts them. But in this flowgorithm file is where I have to put my files that I'm going to read. So I have a file here called student A. It's a bunch of student names. I have another file called student B, different student names. And I created a third file called student C, which has nothing in it. Okay. So the idea is I'm going to read student A, count the records. I'm going to read student B, count the records. I'm going to just create student C as an open variable. But what this will do is I'm going to create this value size A. Now, where am I getting the size from? Well, how about from count? Count size, I'm returning an integer count. So when I read the record, when I read student A, I'm really going to return count size. So if I'm returning a value, I can't do a call, but what I have to do here is say, I'm going to call it size A is equal to count size, bracket, file name. Now, you know what? Right here, I've got a great opportunity. I can say, I've got a file out there. I just looked at it, studenta.txt. That's my file name. Okay. So I'm going to pass studenta.txt. Oh, I'm sorry. This has gone away. That's a call statement. This is a call statement with a return. Okay. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to run count size, I'm going to pass it size A.text, return size A, and then I'm going to open a string array for that. Now, one of the great things I love about flowgorithm, it has this thing called a variable watch window. Okay. And we can kind of watch it run over here. So if I run through my program, I can take it step by step. And to get this thing to do a little more accurate so you can see the variable size window at the same time, I'm going to size down my file here, my flowgorithm file. Okay. And I'm going to take it step by step. This flowgorithm has its own internal debugger. And over here, let's see if I grab this. Over here, this variable watch window is going to be my debugger. So click on Run. Variable not found. Size A not declared. Oh, that's right. I'm going to use size A, so I've got to declare it up here. Size A is an integer. It's a number counter. So here I'm going to go declare size A to get size A, and then build a variable called a string called student A. So we're going to come through, passing it. Notice I'm passing size A, or I'm passing student text as my file name for count size. And I'm going to go through here and do the integer. Go read a record, open file name, flowgorithm student A.text could not be found in folder. Oh, you know why? I haven't saved my folder yet. So I'm going to come over here and go File, Save As. I'm going to put it in the flowgorithm file. And this is going to be demo double sort. Well, I'm going to call the name of my flowgorithm file. This is why we go through these things. So here, I'm going to rerun the thing again. Size A, on my variable text watch, it's an integer. I'm going to call count size and pass it student A.name, string record. Now it's going to open the file name, file name.txt, and it found it this time because both my flowgorithm chart and my file were in the flowgorithm directory. So now I'm going to go through this, reading one record at a time. Count was not initialized. Doggone it. Integer count. I've got to assign count a value. What do I want to do with the count? I want to start count at 0 and then increment count here. All right, let's go back to main. Run our routine again. Integer size A. Size A is going to be given to us by this called routine over here. Okay, passing this down. Student A, record A, open file name, not end of file, read record, count. And it's got Desmond NG. I'm not interested in doing anything right now. All I want to do is get the count of how many records are in this file. Okay? And I think I made the file size with 16 records. So watch my count here and see what happens when it hits 16. 16, read record, 17. That was the last record. 0 through 16 are my records. I've got 17 records. I'm going to close my read, go pass the count back to here's size A. And guess what I'm going to do with it? I'm going to create a string array called student A based on the value size A. If we look at this thing, student A, string, it's an array, and I'm going to use size A as my file size. And therefore, I created an array called student A in the main program. Okay? Now, a couple things here. One of the things I want to do, I want to create all of my arrays up in the main program. And the reason I want to do that is so that the arrays can be passed down to other subroutine functions. I'll be passing down to other subroutine functions. So in order to open the array at the right size, I have to count it first, open the array, and then you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go through and take this count size routine I did right here. The way you copy it, come outside the box, make sure you get in all the boxes. It'll turn blue. Control C. I'm going to create another array. This array, I'm going to add another function. This array, I'm going to call it load array. Okay? And it's going to have a file coming in. I'm going to call it my array coming in. It's an array. It's a string array. I'm going to pass it. And when I get done, let me stop this for a second. Okay, so what we're doing is the function we're going to call load array, and we're going to pass the string array. And I'm also going to pass one other thing. I'm going to pass it size. And I'm going to call this, just for the sake of argument, I'm just going to call it size. Let's call it my size, because we're calling it my array. We'll call it my size. So what I'm going to pass load array is the array itself and my size. Now, I don't necessarily have to pass size. I can find a way to calculate the size in load array. Okay, but just for the sake of argument, we're just going to go load array, paste in what we did over here, got the count going and all that, read record, but instead of just doing the count right here, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to say we got file array. We're going to go ahead and assign. Oh, come on, over here. Assign my array count. When you're dealing with an array, you're dealing with brackets, square brackets. Okay, sign my array is equal to record. So now we're going to read the record, okay, and go through to the count. Now, the thing about it is, I could check for not end of file here, okay, or here I could, instead of doing not end of file, because I know what the size of the record is, I can say do while, or I could say for. This is a for loop. Count. Start at 0. My size minus 1. Now, why do I want to have my size minus 1? Okay. Why do I have my size minus 1? Because the arrays start at 0. Okay. When we build the array, we're going to start at index point 0 and read it in and do that. Okay, so let's run this little program here. Got load array in here. It's just like what we're doing over here with size. This time, we're not getting anything back, so I can use a call. I could do load array, and I'm going to pass it student a.text. And size A. Where did I get size A from? That was my count. So I'm going to pass it student a.text and then size A. Let's go. I'm going to put a breakpoint right here. That was that little breakpoint function. And run this. Cannot be stored. File name was not declared. My name. Oh, here I got to pass it. I got to pass it my array. And I also have to pass it my file name too. So let's add file name. It's a string. I will put that on my first value. Now, on your passing values, okay, you don't have to have the same names, but you do have to have the same data types. So I'm going to pass a string, I'm going to pass an array, and I'm going to pass a size. I'll get back over here to main, local array. I'm passing it that, passing the name. I'm going to pass it student A as the array, and then we'll pass it the size. Okay, just like that. So counted load array. Now I've created my array. Now I'm going to load it up. Okay. Let's run it. It's ready to load up. I can get rid of this. That was just for the break. Notice I'm in the main program. There's student A. I'm going to pass this to load array. There's load array. It's got student A.text, my array, and the size all loaded. And it's going to go through. And now what it's going to do, it's going to start reading those records. And instead of printing them out, it's going to put the record into my array. We just kind of go through that. There's all my students just being loaded in to the system. Let's run it. Now, that's for student A. How about student B? Why don't we take all this? First off, I'm going to do integer size. I need to know the size of B. Okay, I'm going to put that there. Then we'll take this, highlight it, copy it, Control C, come down here and paste it. Now, why did I just do that? Because I'm going to change this to student B. Okay, I'm going to student B, count size, student B.text. The string array, I'm going to use the array student B. The size of the array is going to be size B. This is what you call object-oriented programming. I write the code one time, my count array and load array, and I just change a few parameters to finish it up. Okay? Let's run it. There's A. Let's see here. There's A. Down in this list down here, there's B. Okay. There's A, but B was not initialized. Didn't run B. What happened here? Load. Oh, what I call down here? I've reloaded A. I want to load the array B through here. Let's run it again. There's load rate A, and there's load rate B. Okay. We need to go through this a little slower to watch it. Okay. Let's do that. Let's go up here and we'll get ready to start, and then we'll go through this thing step by step. Okay. Let's move this a little more this way. Give our variable watch window a little bigger size so we can see it. Step by step, integer size A, size B. I'm declaring my two size variables. I'm going to get size A from by counting the record count size. Going through each of the records and counting them, incrementing count. All right. Looking for end of file. Once I hit end of file, I think that's about 17. I come back. I can now create a string array called student A. There's student A. Now I'm going to load student A, load array, which is about the same amount of code complexity as I had when I was opening the file and reading it. Reading through here. I'm going to do student B. That's student A all done. Now I go do student B. Notice that this is now in the main program. Okay. All these variables are available to all my subroutines, all my calling routines. That's why I create my strings and my variables up in the main program. When I get all done, at 17 size A, notice the sizes don't have to be the same. They're different. Okay. So I've loaded student A, I've loaded student B. Now I'm ready to do a bubble sort for those programs. It's unfortunate. These things are sorted. But what I need to do is I really need to do a bubble sort. Okay. We're going to add a new function. We're going to call a bubble sort. Okay. And what we're going to add to the bubble sort, we're going to add a file we're going to add my array, right, as a string. And it's an array. And I'm going to add in my size as an integer. So the bubble sort, I'm going to pass it the array and the size of the array. I'm not going to return anything. Now watch how this bubble sort goes. The key to a bubble sort, okay, is even though these guys, let's go add Dr. Bob Sather. I get somebody out of line here. Ashton, well, here it is. These are not sorted. Why? Because D and Y and all that comes less. This guy over here is a little better sorted, but student A is not sorted. Okay, it's not in order. So I'm going to take student A through the bubble sort. And one of the things I'm going to do in the bubble sort, okay, is I'm going to declare a few variables. Okay. One of the variables I'm going to need to declare is a Boolean operator called do again. Okay. It's a Boolean operator called do again. Now, the idea behind these operators, okay, will be once I go through the list, the stack, okay, the numbers, if I've done any sorting at all, I've got to go back through the stack. I will go through the stack several times. And if I've done any sorting at all, okay, I have to go through the stack until I don't do any sorts. So the do again is kind of a do while statement for me, okay? And I'm going to assign do again equal to true, okay? What that means is my while statement, I'm going to say while do again, okay? Coming down true, I'm coming into my sort for the first time from the top of the record, and I'm saying count here, okay? Count here. I'm going to go through this do again loop. So in the count statement, what I need to do is once I'm in this count statement, I want to assign do again equal to false. Now, what this statement does, okay, I'm coming in to do again. I want to be in do again, but I'm going to set it to false. And only when I get through the sort, okay, if I don't do any sorts, we're good. So do again is equal to false. And then I'm going to do a, let's see, you can do a for statement. For, we will get back into count. Start at 0, go to my size minus 1. And the reason I do that my size minus 1 is because my array starts at 0. Okay? So we'll add in here an integer for count. Declare an integer for count. It's an integer. And then this is going to initialize the integer to 0 and go through this routine. Now the swap statement is pretty simple, from count equal to that. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to do an if statement. Okay? An if statement. That if statement is going to say, if my array count is greater than my array count plus 1. Greater than my array count plus 1. So I'm going to look at my array. I'm going to look at the first index variable, 0, and compare it against the other one. If my first entry is bigger than my second one, I want to swap them. Okay, so as soon as I say swap, I got one other variable I have to create here. Got to declare a string variable, and we're going to call it swap. And it's got to be a string because my array is a string. Okay, so down here where I'm creating the string variable, I'm going to say if this is true, then what I want to do is I want to assign swap equal to my array index. Well, we're going to call it count. I'll call it count here. Then we'll take the first variable from the index and put it into swap. Then I'm going to assign my array index or count with my array count plus 1. You'll see this in just a second. Okay, so I'm taking the second variable and putting it in the first. I've got the first variable stored there. And then what I want to do here is I want to do an assign my array count plus 1. And I want to put swap in that. Okay. So what this will do is this will take the first 0 variable, put it into the swap. It'll take plus 1, put it in the 0 variable, then put swap and plus 1. So I've swapped the numbers. That's all I've done there. Okay. Okay, let's try running this. Just to see how it works. I'll go main and load array, load array. Let's put a this is for B. So right here I'm going to do a bubble sort. A call bubble sort. This is where I put in my parameters. My parameters are student A, this is the array, and size A. That's the size of it. Okay? Now we're going to I'm going to do a breakpoint right here. So we can step through. We know we're going to sort the records. Now we're going to set through them and watch the values go over here on our watch window, our variable window size. Come here, you grab that corner. Make this a little bigger over here. Okay, let's run it. Over there, it's hit the breakpoint. Now it's going to sort. Is D greater than H is the question. Integer count, string swap, happening down here. Let's see if I can. There we go. String swap. It's coming down. Do again true. Oh, I know what I forgot over here. Do again false. And what it's going to do, it's going to go say count equals 0. Go look. That's going to count through that until we hit 17. My count now count is 0. I'm looking at this record. I'm comparing D to 1, 0 to 1. Okay. No change here. Now I'm going to increment count, which this statement here will do the incremented count for us. Now count is equal to 1, so I'm going to compare 1 to 2. Is Y bigger than K? And the answer is yes, it is. So what we'll go through, take Y, which is here, put him in swap, then look at 1 and put 2 into 1, and put swap back in 2. Just like that. And I will continue to move down this setting. We're just going to bump on down the setting. Now there's a bug with this, and the reason for that is once I got you here, I'm going to take your here is going to be bigger than anything. So I'm going to take your here all the way down. He's bigger than Kelsey, he's bigger than Christian, bigger than Deegan, he's bigger than Nicholas, bigger than Stephanie. So right here, I'm going to the bottom here. I'm done with my count. Count's 15. My size is 17. Oh, I blew it. Yeah, I got down here and I said, oh, I'm out of my range here. So I can't do this to my size minus one. I got to do it to my size minus two, which keeps me in the group, keeps me in the bracket. My size minus two will work. But when I get done, just run it. When I get done, I got Yahoo down there, but everybody else is not sorted. Now what? What's my problem? Well, my problem, among other things, is that this do again is going to loop until do again is equal to false. So my bubble sort says if I ever come down this leg, ever, just any for anything, one little record, do again will be equal to true. Okay? Do again is going to be equal to true. So when I come back up through here, let's run through it. There's my break. We'll watch through it. Here we go, and we'll watch you here. We'll just watch you here come down the list. 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now watch what happens here. Okay. My size is 17, count is 14. When I do it one more time, count is now 16. I'm out of this loop. I'm done with count. My size is 17 minus 2. I've gone all the way through here, but look what happens. I've made one change, do against true, go through the loop again. And it will go through the loop again, sorting time after time, getting these numbers down in order. Did I say bubble sort was an efficient sort? No, it's not. But it gets the job done in very simple fashion. Okay. See, Vivian's now here and Vivian's moving down. Once I get Vivian to the bottom, it looks at it, says, Vivian, are you bigger than I here? No. And then I go back up to the do again. Do again's true. I will go through this loop until this whole thing's completely sorted. Okay? I will go through this loop until the whole thing's sorted. And we're going to go bubble sort. We're going to take that out of there, take the break out of there, run it, and see what it is. Okay, I got one other issue here. After I bubble sort, I want to see what the thing looks like. Let's do a bubble sort here. Let's do a print. Okay? We're going to create another variable called print array. And we're going to pass it my array, which is a string array. And we're going to pass it my size, which is an integer. Okay? Those are the two things we're going to pass it. And then in the print array, what I can do is I can take the same code I used for count and load array, take all this code right here. Actually, I don't have to do that. All I've got to do is print array. So I'm going to go back to print array, passing it that. I can do, right off the bat, I can do for count 0 to my size minus 1. I will get everything in the array. At that point in time, from count equal my size minus 1, if I'm going to declare count here, I've got to declare count. Okay. Size 0 to 1. And then right here, I'm going to just go ahead and output record equal to ampersand. It's called record. Well, actually, I'll put to my array. I don't have to move that. I can just take it right out of the array like that. That's all. Just run through it until I'm done. So let's go back to main, bubble sort. I want to do a print sort. I'm going to take this bubble sort statement. Let's take that statement like that. I go over here and do a call routine. Paste it in, but instead of bubble sort, I'm going to do print array. What array am I printing? I'm printing student A based on student size. Now let's put a breakpoint right there. Let's run it. Ashton, Christian, Dayton, Deja. Looks like it's sorted to me. Looks like it's sorted to me. Does it look like it's sorted to you? One other thing I could do with this is say, well, I don't want to do it long ways like that. What I really want to do is rather than say record, I know what I'm getting here. I'm just going to say my array ampersand, comma, and get rid of the new line. So what this will do is this will print my array all as a string across the bottom here. But because I didn't do a new line, it won't print it until I do another output command. So this is one way of just getting it up here. Just prints an output, put an end, a record type thing. Okay, let's go back to main. Let's run it. There's all my names. Okay, there's all my names on one line, which is a little easier to see because I can compare. Let's do the same thing with B now. All we got to do here for B, got load array, is take this, copy it, come down here, paste it, and change it to student B text, bubble sort for student B. Don't you love object-oriented programming? Print student B and size B. Take the break out of it, run it. There they are, all sorted, ready to go. Now what? Final thing I want to do here is I want to do a merge. Okay, I want to do a merge. So one of the things I want to do in the merge is I've got to create my array, but I don't know what the size of my array is. It's size B. Right? The size is C. Okay. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say create a string array for C. Down here, but instead of using student B, it's going to be C. The size is going to be size C. How do I know what size C is? I'm going to declare assign size C equal to size A plus size B. I create a string array for that. Okay, let's run it. There's my load over there, and then down here, I've got student C array, size 32 from 0, 31, that's 32 records. Size C is going to come up here and tell me size C is 32 records. So I've now created a third array called student C. Now what do I want to do? Well, I've got A sorted and I've got B sorted. So here I'm going to do call for merge sort. Okay. What am I going to do in my merge sort? Add merge sort. I have to add some parameters. What do I need? I need student A, string array. And to keep this in order, I'm going to say size A. I need the size of A. Then we add another string array, student B, string array. And we add another one, student C, size B is an integer. And then we add another array. Remember, I created my array up in my main program. This one's going to be called student C. Oh, it's a string array. And student C also has a size C. It's an integer. Okay, pass that back. Now, all that stuff means, all that stuff there. Let's see if I can get this thing. All this information here, this whole command line. I don't know if I can get that in. I want to put that in. Since I'm using it, I might call my merge sort in my main routine, merge sort. I gotta put all that stuff in the brackets here. Okay. Student A, size A, student B, size B, student C, size C, and parentheses. That's what my call statement is going to look like. Okay. Let's test it to see if it works. Not going to do anything, but the code did work. Now let's go into the code itself, merge. Hey, what are we doing here? Okay. We're going to go, this is a little more complicated. We're going to compare each record, and like the bubble sort, if one record's smaller than the other, we're going to swap it. But because I'm dealing with three arrays, I've got the size, but I've got to have some way of indexing through those three arrays. So I'm going to create a declare, and I'm going to call index A, my index for student A. Index B is my index for student C. I like to use the term index, okay, instead of count. All right. Index is about the same thing as count. We're going to run through this thing and set these guys up. Okay. And then down here, I'm going to have to do some assigns. Index A starts at 0. Assign index B starts at 0. Assign index C starts at 0. And I'm going to go through here and I'm going to do a I think I'm going to do my Boolean do again loop here again. Declare Boolean, we're going to call do again. Make it Boolean. And let's say bool again equal true. Do again equal true. I've got to go through these routines and make sure that I've got all the information. Now I've got this Boolean true statement here. I can come down here and say, while, do again. We're going to come in, it's going to be true, the while statement. And then I'm going to start comparing. At this point in time, I want to say, if student array student A on index A it's greater than student B, index B, I'm going to do something. You starting to see what's going on here? They're all zero, so I'm going to compare the first index in student A array to B. If A is greater than that, then I want to push A down the stack. Okay? A is greater than that. I want to index this alphabetically. What I'm going to do is I'm going to assign in student C, which is my merge table, for index C, I'm going to assign that equal to, let's see, let me look at my logic here. If student A is greater than student B, then I want to push student B, index B, into C. Okay. So here, if student A is greater, I want to force that in. If it's not greater, then what I want to do is the opposite. Over here, index C still got, and over here, if it's not greater, then I want to push A in. Student C. Okay? We'll do that. In this case, if I'm moving student B, I want to increment a student B index. Oh, index B plus 1. And I want to increment index C. I think I can probably copy that, do this over here, paste it, again, change it. I'm doing B on the right side, I'm doing A on the left side. And in both cases, I need to increment index C. Index C equal to index C plus 1. Okay? Now I'm going through this list, and I'm going to do again until this thing, continue. Yeah, we'll go through that. We do this thing until I get through index C. Now the issue is, when do I stop? Okay, at some point, I don't want to do this again when, if index A equal to size A. Am I done? Am I done with student A record size? If that's done here, that's true. True again is equal to false. I want out. Okay. Index A is equal to that. Or take this code, copy it. How about index B? Index B is equal to this size. Now, at this point in time, this almost looks like it'll work. Okay, but let me show you what the problem is with this. Where's my breakpoint? Let's put a breakpoint here on merge sort. Okay, run it. There's my records sorted. Bring this over here so we can see all these records in one file. Okay, now what's happened here? A is sorted, B is sorted, C is sorted. Let's step through it. With a merge, okay, I've passed all that stuff to merge. I've created a couple more do agains there. Index A, B, and C are there. Okay. Now, student A, index 0, student A, is he bigger than student B? No. So I ought to go down the left-hand side. And by that, I'm going to write Adrian here, not Cooper. We'll get again. Run it again. Next time, index A is 1, so I'm looking at Ashland versus index B is 2. I'm looking at Ashland versus Cooper. Who wins? Ashland or Ashton. Now I'm doing it again. I'm looking at Christian versus Cooper. CH wins. Coming again. Now I'm looking at index A being 3, Deja versus Cooper. I'm still on index B 0. So what happens here? Oh, we get Cooper to come over. Okay, and keep on running. Now, I'm not going to go through this whole list, but what I'm going to say is, I'm going to run the whole thing. And what happens is, when I look at my C record, I got a couple records down here at the bottom, okay, that aren't initialized. Why? Because I ran out of, what's Virgil? I ran out of things to compare to here. I didn't have any comparison for these other two. So I've got to have, if I run out of B first, I have to finish up with A. I got to take these other A's and copy them over. Okay? So if I run out of B, then what I need to do here is have another little if statement. Okay, let's see if I move this thing over here a little bit. Have another little if statement where I'm saying if we know that B is greater than that, then what I want to say here is if index B, we did that, index B equal true. So here, I don't think I even need the if statement, do I? I need the if, I need a while statement here, not an if. I need a while statement. I'm going to do a loop through here. While index B less than size B, take this and assign, actually, since I'm comparing, I've got the B here, then what I'm really doing is I'm looking at A. B's, I've got the B. So these guys really need to be A. I'm going to compare A to size A, and I'm going to write A out. B's loaded up. Let's write A out. And my array, or actually student C, variable student C, index C is equal to student A index A. Okay. Remember, index A and B is keeping track of all that stuff. Okay. So as long as index A is less than size A, I would do this loop. If that, then I would do this while. I would be in this while loop, incrementing, and assign, incrementing index C plus 1, and index A. Index A equal index A plus 1. Okay? So what this is designed to do, if I'm done with B, clear out A. And when I'm done with that, say do again false, and then drop out of this loop. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Take this information. Get my copy working here. Take that, copy it, put it up here, paste it. Now instead of index A, I've got index B that I'm unloading. Comparing index B side B, incrementing index C and incrementing index B. So this first guy up here, if I'm done with size A, finish B. If I'm done with size B, finish A. If I'm done with one or the other, it doesn't matter either one, the do again says, once I hit this, I'm done. Okay? And it'll run. All right. A little more complicated. Let's go ahead and run it. Got I'm a little breakpoint over here. In my file sizes where you can see them. And we're going to watch it go through. Now we know that up to that point in time, it works pretty good. So I'm just going to click through it till we get down to the bottom. And going down to the bottom, Vigil is Vivian. Vigil is going to get to the bottom before Vivian. So I'm just going to kind of watch the bottom of my screen over here, waiting for Vigil to hit the bottom. Just kind of bumping through it. Reading from one at a time, running through it. Looping through. Using that while statement with a Boolean operator. Again, close. Samuel Crane, S. Stephanie Tucker. Next one's going to be V for Vigil. There's Vigil. It's size A. Index A equal to index size A. Index A is equal to 15. Size A is someplace else. Index B is equal to 15. Where's my size? Size A is 17. Size B is 15. All of a sudden, I'm going to have 15 is equal to 15. Checking my values. Is that equal? No. How about size B? Size B is equal. Okay. Now what? We'll loop through that. Incrementing index A, 15. So here's index A. I'm at 15. I'm going to move 15 into what's index B? Index C is 30. I'm going to move 15 into 30. Increment my indexes. Is index A greater than that? Not yet. Still got one more to go. Come through here. Now is it greater than that? No, it's not. Do again equal false. Do again, and we're done. That's nice. How do I know I'm done? Where's my print? Print array. Come down here, paste it in. This time instead of student B, student C, side C. Print it out. Run it. We're done. Okay, that's it. I'm going to do another one on doing pseudocode with this in another session. So have a good day, and we'll see you at the next session.